Happy Wednesday. Another live Manic and Chill. I'm here with Shane. This is going to be our last episode before the draft stream frenzy, Shane, that we are going to be putting on between Ray Garvin NFL and DDFFB. There is going to be live draft coverage from basically Thursday all the way to Monday morning with the recap of the draft on Wake Up. The Monday following the NFL draft. But good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. If you haven't already, follow the new Manic and Chill X handle, Manic Chill Show, which after 5 years of doing the show, we decided to make a Twitter handle and
45 years. 45 years. Yeah.
It's there. Follow it. It'll really just be here to house our content, our videos, our shorts, any promos that we're doing, any merch that we do. I'm kind of getting ahead of ourselves with those things because they don't exist yet. But thank you for being here. Good evening, everybody. I see some familiar faces. But Shane, we're here to talk about last things to do before your rookie drafts because we're not going to have another pre-NFL draft stream. There's going to be a live Manic and Chill on Friday.
Okay.
Before day 2 of the NFL draft. So look forward to that Manic and Chill, but it'll be a special day next week. Not Wednesday night, but Friday afternoon. So
Friday.
How you doing?
Afternoon. Yep.
Friday afternoon. You are off work as you've already planned.
I bought a blackout curtain so that I will not look like an angel. A lot of people think I'm an angel, but I'm not. So yeah, I'm ready, bro. I'm ready. I can't wait for this, dude. Next week is going to be a fun week, man. Obviously, we're waiting a Thursday to kick off, but it's going to be really fun next week.
Yeah, it's going to be wall-to-wall content, reactions, changes, a lot to talk about. But tonight we're going to talk about some preparation for that. We definitely want to hear your trades, your draft prep questions, anything that's on your mind leading up to the NFL draft, where we're going to get a lot of new information. And then literally, I think I have 15 rookie drafts that start like that Monday, right after the draft. So it's not a lot of time to digest, to trade, to overreact or underreact to what's already happened. It's like right to get on the clock. So we were talking about this in Heisman the other day. I don't know if you caught this conversation, but we were just talking about some things to proactively do. And I'm just going to ask you this to start. Then we'll take some questions from the chat, trade questions, strategy questions. But there was a long debate, Shane. And if you're interested in these type of conversations, we literally have them every day at ddfantasyfootball.com. Are you trying to proactively get in and out of your hypothetical tiers right now? Like you've gone through, you've mocked, you know where the tiers are, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, depending on the tight end premium, the point per carry. Maybe it's a little higher, a little bit lower. Are you trying to go, ooh, okay, I have this tier at 107. Are you trying to get out of the 108 or 109 simply because it disrupts your tier projections, even though you know you could be wrong by a player or two and you regret it? What do you think?
So actually, my tiers are weird in my head, right? Because everyone else has them. They go in a specific order. Of course, mine go here, and then it's like, oh, I'm going to go drive down the street. So it's like 101, 102. And 103. That's kind of a tier for me. Obviously Genty's at the top of it, not even close. And then after that, it's like the 4, 5, 6. I don't want to be in that area because I don't want to have to make a choice with those. What's likely going to be the running backs or Cam Ward, depending, or Ted McMillan. I don't want to be there. I'm fine being there if I have multiple picks, right? Because, well, I can't keep trading back. I can only trade back so far. But I know I've been trying to get out of like 108, 109, 110, the usual. Can I get a couple seconds for it instead of that? Can I kick it to next year and get a second this year? So I'm trying to move off of, I'd say, yes, like 108, 109, 110, like anything past 108 is really, I'm looking to move out of, if possible.
So I think the thing that came up most was that the problem is when you are sitting at 10, let's just remove 101 and 102 even, because I think those are the picks where whether you're after a quarterback or whether you're just confident in Hampton being the RB2, right? You feel okay at 102. I mean, I see a question in there from Big Diaz. I'll throw this up there. Big Diaz is in our community. 102 is interested in 101. They're basically trying to color up from the slight risk of Hampton to almost the guarantee of Genty. But that second piece feels a little light, right? And I can see that. If you have the 102, like I'm not giving you another first to move up one pick. I'm not giving you another starter to move up one pick. Now I could end up being wrong where it's Genty above everybody else by almost a first. And I regret not doing that, but it doesn't feel like that market's there. So let's say move these two picks, Shane. Okay. If you have like the 104, that's a valuable pick. It's probably the QB1 if you want it. It could be the RB3 or the wide receiver 1. You're pretty confident in the pedigree, capital, profile, whatever you want to call it, of the player you're going to get there. But are you trying to move out of those picks? Because I asked that question the other day, and everybody kind of said at least the consensus answers seem to be that those picks are more valuable as the pick number than what you can actually sell those picks for. Do you agree? Like if you have the 104, what are you aiming for versus what you can actually get? And I have a theory as to why it might be like that. Is anybody else feeling that way in the chat? That if you have 103 through 105 and you're trying to get a non-asset that you may not be able to get that type in this draft, if you're trying to get, a wide receiver that is young, or you're trying to get a quarterback that you like better than Cam Ward, are you seeing it's tough to do that if all you're trading is one of those picks? What do you say, Shane?
For the 104, I'm still trying to convince people that that's enough to give me not the very top tier wide receiver, but I have tried to, I don't want to say be slick, but go, all right, well, let me get Puka for this 104 and a late second, because the 104 should be valuable. It should be a highly coveted piece, even if it's not. I don't want to say it's not, but it's not as highly coveted as I would like. And it's probably not probably. It's definitely not worth Puka. What was your original question?
But why? It's a flashback, too. Shane was sitting there. I looked at him. I thought he was listening the whole time, but maybe he didn't actually pick up the question. Now, I think this comment in the chat nailed it. It's kind of nailed what I was going for, soup catching. Because the top players are running backs, right? If you're trying to get out of one of those picks, you're probably looking for something that's not a running back. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You're sitting there saying, okay, I want to trade away my 104. I know that's going to be the choice of probably a running back that maybe doesn't go in the first, but goes in the early second to a smash spot. There's going to be one of them. I don't know who it is. I don't know the spot. But I think a lot of people already have pigeonholed those picks as I'm either going to get a running back or I have to draft Cam Ward, or the tight end premium, I have to draft Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland, right? So I just don't think you can go trade that pick 1-for-1 to get Trey McBride, to get CJ Stroud.
Whereas last year, obviously, we could because of the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, because
there was flexibility.
Every good piece in that draft was the sexy pieces, but that goes back to what we've thought about this draft for infinity, right? We knew people wouldn't, or at least we thought people wouldn't value this draft as much as past ones, even if the running backs are stacked comparatively so to the wide receivers last year, because this is a running back and tight end heavy draft. This is not a wide receiver and quarterback draft, which are the sexy pieces. Those are the pieces that everybody wants. No one really wants to pay up for running backs, right? So having the 103 just doesn't feel as great, knowing that you're probably looking at running back. 105, you're probably looking at running back. 106, you're probably looking at running back, unless you're going to just go ahead and reach for Tet McMillan because he's a wide receiver, and that's what you're conditioned to do, like Pavlov's dog.
I do think people actually do want to pay for running backs. They're the teams that are not selling the assets that the sellers want, right? So if I'm paying up to get Amari and Hampton on my team, or I'm just paying up to get whatever the RB3 is, you know what I don't want to give away? Like Garrett Wilson in 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Like yeah. I'm looking at that as like, sure, I'll give you a later pick and a future pick. But I think if you're sitting there, and this does not necessarily point to the teams that their roster sucks, but if you're sitting there at the 102, but definitely the 103, 104, you already know you're probably going to have access to a running back. But if you're sitting there going, man, I'd rather just get something else besides a running back, you need to find the right person that has excess or is willing to trade that other stuff for the choice of maybe taking the running back on the clock, because that's probably why they're trading for the pick. There's just no flexibility. Last year, if you were really high on Bowers at 104, you could have traded for 104. And there would have been a quarterback and a receiver there And everybody was kind of like, yeah, if you take one of those players, it's fine. But there was flexibility. This year, there is not. There is just not flexibility. We have a couple questions in here I want to get to, but final thoughts?
No, I was just going to say, and yeah, you know what you're always willing to take on? You're always willing to take on another wide receiver. You just are, right? You don't care. No, wrong one. This is fine. Go away. Sorry. You're always willing to add another wide receiver to the war chest, even if you have one that's of a comparable value on your roster. But you're not for running back, right? And me and you are big proponents of, wait, I have too much value in the running back room. Let me go ahead and move one of these running backs. We don't generally say that about wide receiver, not as often. Like sometimes we do on roster reviews when we're looking for a way to improve a roster, but in general, most people don't want to take on more running back risk, but they're willing to, again, a wide receiver that might be in the same tier, take that on because there's less perceived risk with that wide receiver.
So I asked this the other day. I need you to focus on this question. Your team sucks. You have the 102. You can't get any non-running back value for it. What do you do with it? Do you take a discount to get futures, to just suspend having to draft the running back? Like if I would give you, let's just call it a 12 by 10 super flex, no heavy tight end premium. So you're not like super excited to draft the tight ends either. I'll give you the 111 and a future first for the 102. Is that a smash trade? Or are you saying, nah, I'm good, I'll just draft their RB2?
No, I'll draft the RB2.
Even if your team's out of it, you've tanked. It has two assets.
I don't care.
You don't care?
I have 3
You'll just
assets,
gamble that once that running back's on your roster, there'll be another better window where you can sell. Is that fair?
Oh, yeah. I will. Yes, I will be able to hopefully sell in season, right? When a Marion Hampton's going out there and he's putting up Jonathan Taylor rookie season numbers or something, you know what I mean? 15, 16 points per game. Then people will come knocking because people are more willing to give up assets or more valuable assets in season. We know that because they're going for a title. So that running back risk, they'll be more apt. They'll be more likely to and more willing to take it on.
What if he starts slow?
Well, then I'm shit out of luck and I just have to hold.
Well, no, but if he starts slow and then towards the end of the year he picks it up, the best offer you may get is very similar to what you got on the clock. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the problem is if you hold the running back like that and they don't come out the gates smashing, it develops over the time of the season that your buyers are kind of the same buyers that were buying during the draft. You know what I mean? Like next year's 103, 102, they're not knocking down your door for that pick, even though you might have had some more variance in what you could have gotten before.
But so as oh man, this is going to be just the antithesis of what most people think, right? If I have a running back that starts off his career slow, I am a lot less concerned about that than I am a wide receiver, because a wide receiver that starts off his career slow is a deceased dynasty asset. I'm trying to use a word other than
goal with Hampton to split at some sort. I guess the reason I put that offer out there, a late first and a future first for the 102 right now, or even on the clock, once you see what's going to be available, there's a little more or less of a gamble depending on if you're right or wrong. But isn't just the process say you got to split that asset chain? You can't say, oh man, I need a little extra value. Like it kind of feels like you're waiting on a bad team. And the problem is, what if Hampton comes out second half of the year is pretty good? You now look back and go, damn, I kind of had a window I could have sold. And I don't know if a year 2 running back gets you the same deal.
I'm not trading an elite asset for an ass asset.
Okay.
And a mystery box. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. And it's funny because in the Manic and Chill Discord channel, we were kind of talking about this, right? Someone was like, would you trade the 105 for the 113 in the future? I think it was 27 first. And I'm like, no, I just won't. And that's the 105. The 102, I'm definitely not doing it. Now, I am a pragmatist, right?
How many starters was that?
I believe it was only 10. I am a pragmatist.
Team start 10. I don't know, man. That's
still
one of those offers where you're just basically saying, I'm making the pick. Because not a lot of times do you get a better offer than that, to be frank. A future first and a top 13 pick.
A top 13 pick is the 201. Because most people playing stay what it actually is.
But Shane, in a 14 by 10, a 14 by 10 hitting on a Khalil Shakir is valuable. I know you want to hit higher, but if you just hit a single or a double with that 201 or 113 in this case, and you bank a future first, you're betting that the guy you're trading away at 105 is just good. Great. Yeah. If he's not great, that's a bad deal.
I need great. I need good. All I need is good. Good rise.
Kenneth Walker's
value. Good rises in value during its rookie season.
All right, we got some questions. I want to hit a couple of these, and we'll get back to the live chat. Brandon Cassidy says, what's more valuable, any RB on a 53 or a 26 third? Any RB on a 53 is good if you can get them for less than that. Otherwise, you should be able to find a spot start, 1 week fill in, Tyler Goodson type. You should always be able to get those types for a third. So if we're talking like that level, I'd rather have the third because there's probably a body I can pick up off waivers that's free and I can get both. If we're talking like actual backup, like you'd pay a third for Tyler Algier, Braylon Allen, you know what I mean? Like that type of backup, somebody that I'm pretty confident has multiple windows of a couple usable games in a row, like that's worth buying for a third. But if you're just talking, like Antonio Gibson, if they draft a running back, he's going to be on the team. I just don't know if he's close to any opportunity. You know what I mean? He's worth holding, but that's in that case a guy I'd rather have a third over.
The important part of that pick is that it's a 26 third. So I don't need to be right about it right now. I need to be right on those any RBs on a 53. I have to be right on it because if I'm not, dude's getting cut. And this is the running back apocalypse, right? All of these young dudes are going to come in and just maybe not take all the high-end jobs, right? But they most assuredly will be taking people like, I'm trying to think of people that just are still in the league that shouldn't be, like Ty Chandler. Like we might not ever see him again.
Jordan Mason.
Not Jordan Mason. A lower tier than that. A lower tier than that.
No, he is a backup running back that you are betting they do not draft somebody. So do not even put him on a pedestal because he's not.
No. But just for the purpose of this conversation, like a third value, you know what I mean? Like an Alexander Madison. I might never see that dude play football again because teams are like, no, I'm not signing this guy for $6 million or whatever.
Will Shipley.
$2 million. Will Shipley still got a shot. Just drafted last year and he's buried behind.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Right now, Will Shipley or a third?
You should probably take the third.
Okay. The Eagles don't address running back at all, and they say Will Shipley will get 30% of the work this year. Will Shipley or a third? At that point, you'd say I'd pay the third. You know what I mean? Like it would be an educated bet. It'd be an educated bet to give away the third. So
they did already add a running back to that room, though. I do like. I still like Will Shipley. I think Will Shipley's going to get some usage this year, but that's based on absolutely nothing other than feeling and gut. There's no
But I think, Shane, that those are the fascinating value propositions because right now, if you told me the Eagles were just going to draft a running back, I don't even care where. That tells me that you're not super confident about Will Shipley having a role. So you would take pre-draft. You would take any draft pick for Will Shipley, right? Someone gave you the 4-6. You'd say, you know what? I might have the fresh new pick to use. But then post-draft, you're going to overreact and go, wait, they didn't take anybody. I wish I could trade in that 406 and get Will Shipley back. So I think there's that straddling of value with these running backs that are on a 53. Some are backups. Some are the third running back. Like there are some bets that if you really like one over the other, I'm fine bringing something. How many roster reviews have we done? And I've said, okay, one of the first things I see is this team has 4 seconds and 4 thirds. You know what I don't want? 8 rookie running backs. Can I go in and trade for can I go get a Jordan Mason and a Will Shipley? Just give me a couple veterans and just because it's going to be kind of random which ones lands where and, how the market values all of them once they're all in spots. So a few more. I'm going to hit these. I want to ask you these ones. We don't have a format, so smooth criminal entertainment. Let us know. But London and the 105 or the 101. Okay, 12 by 10. That's all we know. We don't know anything else. No premiums, nothing. But let's just assume standard. No tight end premium. So 105 and London are the 101. No context either. So this could be this could be the team where you are one running back away from a monster squad. Are you doing it?
Yeah, I am. I've got some Genty fever. I do. I absolutely have
So,
Gen feeder.
so if your team is one running back, no, we're going the other way. You have the 101, and your team is just a running back away from smashing. Are you taking the value, or are you keeping the 101? Sounds like you're keeping the 101 regardless.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Can I go through the history of my league and see how valuable Drake London might be in return for a running back? Like, can I trade Drake London? Can I trade for Drake London in the 105, but then trade London for a chain?
Okay, you're
Then use the
overanalyzing
105 and another pick for a wide receiver.
You're
Then I get a
overanalyzing
chain. So there's a lot of stuff here I would do. I think it's
so your team is dog shit, and the 101's your best asset. Are you taking this trade?
Yeah, London and 105.
Okay.
That's simple.
Sure.
That's clear cut. But that's not fun. It's more fun when there's these lines of gray and you have to go, you know what else can I do with this? You know what I mean? It's easy to just be like, give me the 101, I'll throw Genty in there. Like,
I have 101s, and one of them is a team where it was already like the second best team. So like I'm thrilled to just add the running back. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That would be a league where I would say, okay, what else can I do if I accept this trade? But that is tempting value to take 105 in London, because you could probably do something else with either of those assets if you want to. Well, let's see what else we got. I got a couple others. Stephen White was making fun of your blackout curtain. He said it was a shower curtain. Someone else called you a doomsday prep vault. Let's see. Shane says, we had a question from Sam. Sam watched. Shane says, can you do a QB post rookie season and incoming college evaluation like you did with receivers, Shane? You comfortable doing that?
Yeah. I mean, all it is looking at data, right? Following
is
data.
The quarterback a tricky thing, though, to try to – because the first thing you care about, which nobody is good at, including the NFL, is deciding which ones will actually stick. You know what I mean? If you knew all of that, it wouldn't be that difficult to really project kind of the rushing and or the pass volume, pass efficiency. But like that a lot of times is correlated with, is this guy going to bust? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there is, I used to, and I still do. I don't mean I used to. I listened to UTH, and Chad Parsons would always talk about like the not the criteria. That's not the thresholds that quarterbacks need to hit like within their first 2 years. And if they don't, that they're unlikely to hit. I don't know them off the top of my head, but there is a threshold where like if a quarterback doesn't produce at a certain level by their second year, that generally they don't do it going forward. So no, yeah, I'd be comfortable with that. I could do that. A quarterback one is definitely going to be definitely more intricate than a wide receiver one. Definitely. Right. Because there are a lot of qualifiers. Like with wide receivers, generally the only qualifier I have, and I've started to even reduce that, is like games missed. Or quarterbacks, that's going to be like Michael Penix. If I use that as a cutoff, like I got to, Michael Penix started 5 games last year, 6 games. Mm-hmm. So it'd just be a lot more qualifiers that I would just have to bake into it. That's all.
Yeah. Quarterbacks they're tricky. I mean, I talked about this on the quarterback war series, that we are typically not good at determining which quarterbacks are going to make it and which ones aren't. But we're equally as bad at picking which quarterbacks have upside and which ones don't, if we don't know which ones are good or not, right? Like we have pumped up, if you just think of the last 4 classes. I mean, think of the guys that people have pumped up as the QB1, QB2, QB3, Richardson, Lance, Fields. What's the problem with all of those guys? They didn't make it. You know what I mean? Or at least we don't know if they're going to make it in Richardson's case. But like, if all they had to do is just lock themselves in, you would go, okay, I can get the upside right. Instead, other quarterbacks from their classes have been just as good or better because of the fact that if you just look at from a war perspective, half the time those guys aren't even on the field. You know what I mean? And they're not even contributing the minimums from a passing perspective to even get you to the baseline. So it's kind of like this year, you draft Cam Ward at what's his ADP? 103, 104 right now?
Yeah.
And then the other 2 QBs, if it's Dart and Shador, as long as they go in the first, their ADP is like 110, 111, 112. So unless you just tell me Cam Ward has a skill set for extreme upside, you're better off just not taking him. You know what I mean? Because you don't know which one's going to bust and which one's not. You might think you could, but the NFL's not good at picking that. So to think in Dynasty, oh man, Cam Ward won't bust, but Shador's definitely busting. We don't know that.
No, it's going to be it's going to have to be a look back after the rookie season, which kind of sucks, right? Because you've already spent the 101 on Caleb, but whatever. It's better to have information at some point along the journey than never have the information that you're looking. You know what I mean? To never have the information. It's better to know that you've made a mistake a year after you made the mistake than never knowing you made the mistake. So that'll be something that I can do. It won't be anytime soon, just because I got a feeling we'll be focused on a lot of NFL draft and rookie mock draft stuff. But yeah, that's something I'll look at.
Oh, here's what's interesting, and then I'll get off this topic. But like, think of, we did a roster review last night. We'll plug that here in a second. But I asked you about Bo Nix. Bo Nix or Caleb? Forget about, and let's just suspend the Caleb Williams name. He does have Ben Johnson, so you got to give him credit for that. But aside from that, I still think the market thinks there's a little bit of a gap there. And subconsciously, people still think, I'm not sure Bo Nix is good. Like, there's still not a lot, but there's still a little fear that it was kind of a fluke. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so but if you just assess their skill sets, you should go Bo Nix has a higher ceiling than Caleb Williams, right? But why aren't we there? Yes, why aren't we there? Yeah. And there's still some bias. Do you agree?
Yeah. One, Williams was the more touted prospect, right? So that definitely sticks in our head. There is definitely the segment of the population is just like, well, Bo Nix, he can't be as good as he was. But even if he wasn't, I think it's safe to assume that Bo Nix is probably going to be a top 12 quarterback. I mean, he does have a skill set that lends itself to spike weeks, to high-end production, because he's willing to run. That's what we want, right? And even Caleb Williams last year, if you look at his best games, it's when he ran the ball at least 4 times a game. I don't know if Ben Johnson's going to bake that in, because I haven't seen him with a quarterback that can actually move, because he had Jared Goff, and Jared Goff runs like me. So I don't know. I would still take Caleb Williams, but it's not like it's a slam dunk by any means, right? Like if someone were like, oh, I'll give you first and Bo Nix for Caleb Williams, absolutely, he's gone. You know, like, sure, he's all yours. And it could be a late first. But yeah, there's definitely people that still think he's just not good.
Christopher's question. We don't have a format, but a strong team. So let's assume 12 by 10, nothing else fancy. Strong team. So you don't need anything. What are your plans if you have these 3 picks? 107, 110, 112.
Yeah.
You just get rid. How many do you make and how many do you sell for just futures, just to kick because you don't need anything. You don't need to add another running back. You don't need to add a tight end. Like you don't need to make more than maybe one of these picks, don't you think?
Most likely not. And if I could get rid of obviously the 112 is, I think we've talked about this before. If I can trade the 112 for any future first, it's gone. I quite frankly, if it's the 28,
107, that's the only one you get offered a middle of the pack first in the future.
But I'm getting some juice with it, I assume, because why would I just do
getting a mid-third?
Mid-third.
I'm putting the feet to the fire, because I think the process here is more important than your arrogance to be able to pick who you want in the order that you want.
I don't even know if it's
we're not good at saying the 107 is a better player than the 110. We're just not. Historically, in a format where the tight ends aren't, I don't want to say aren't premium, but they're not flex worthy tight ends. Like, we're not good at saying who I'm taking at 107 is better than 110 or 112. And I'm not saying to just take the offer and not shop around. But I think a team like this, the value of being able to push 2 of these picks to the future and get future firsts, maybe it's the 107 and the 112, and you got to add something to the 112 to get it done. Like, that could be the market. I think that's important, though. I don't think it's, I'm not getting enough for the right to draft this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. And for me, it's not about the player that you're picking at 107. I don't give a shit about that, to be quite frank. I'm just like, it feels like, and this has been a big thing of mine lately, right? It just feels like I should be getting more than just a 1-for-1. If a third, but again, I am a pragmatist. If that's the best I can do and I have no need to make this pick, then I'll do it. Then I will do it.
Shane, in non-tight end premium leagues, where do you value Warren and Loveland versus Burden and Golden? Man.
Etel, etc. Two of those players, I believe. Fuck that. Two of those fucking players have the actual upside to be difference makers at their positions. The other two, I don't see that. I just don't. I absolutely do not.
Well, who are they? Because I don't agree, and I'm curious because I'm guessing you're not going to see the two that I think
it's not the two wide receivers, dude. It's the two tight ends. Those are the players that have any chance.
We are so different here.
Oh yeah,
I'm tempted to change the overlay and share the war data because we are so different.
I know.
Let me do it.
I know. I know what the past is.
You don't know. You don't know. You are drafting here with. You have bias that you think Loveland and Warren can break the tight end landscape and be top 5, top 3. And I'm just telling you.
Yes, I'm shooting upside over the average ass wide receivers. I can find. I understand that the probability.
You're assuming average ass receivers.
Yes. Golden's. Listen, I don't agree with the herd a lot of times, but I agree with the herd completely when they're like, I don't see it with Matthew Golden, who ran a 4.35 in real life, not a 4.29, which is actually probably better than him based off the history of people that have.
Shane, I think in non-tight end premium, I'm just going to say this. Tune into the war episode that I just did, or it's going to be dropping. I shouldn't advertise it because it's literally not out. I just recorded it a little bit ago.
You should.
I talked about tight ends in non-tight end premium leagues. The threshold you have to hit to matter, you basically have to be Sam Laporta or Trey McBride. And to get into that range, you need to boot one of those guys out. That's the threshold. Anything lower than that, if you just get David Njoku's career out of one of these guys, that's a whiff. I would have rather drafted Chris Olave because A, the receiver value is going to hold more because people are
you're just throwing in Chris Olave like he wasn't an elite.
I would right now in a non-tight end premium, I'd rather have Chris Olave over the tight end 5. That's like TJ Hawkinson. I don't even want. Mark Andrews, I don't even want him. The difference between those guys and replacement level is so little. If that's what I get, and keep in mind, 2 years ago, we would have put Dalton Kincaid in the same group. Oh man, he can't miss. The floor is a tight end 6.
Mm-hmm.
What if he's incredible? Kyle Pitts, same thing. I'm just
absolutely
just telling you, these tight ends are not that, especially Tyler Warren. He is not that. I am not
going into that blind though, right? Like if I know what's going to happen when I stick my finger in the electrical socket, then just let me do it. I understand what's going to happen. As a kid. Not too many times, but if I know what's going to happen when I stick my finger in that electrical socket, I am a grown ass man. Just let me do it. I understand that it's probably safer not to stick my finger in the electrical socket, right? By taking Luther Burden and Matthew Golden. I completely understand that's safer. There's certain areas that I'm always going to be willing to just shoot upside. And I know that Warren's probably the more concerning of the two, right? I think everyone at this point has got Loveland as the tight end 1.
I think Loveland's just as concerning. That you're just betting on a very slim outcome. If you're betting on the receiver outcome to have a little bit of a softer landing, I don't even need Luther Burden to become a top 12 receiver. If he's just wide receiver 25, that's a softer landing in this market than a tight end that I'm going, I get it. Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts, those guys have failed, so people are off them. But those are like realistic trajectories of what a tight end value looks like. Dalton Kincaid wasn't bad as a rookie. He was good. And then he didn't get better. So now he's dead. And that will happen to these guys unless they are great. And I'm not betting on great. I can bet on good. They're a first-round pick. They have a good profile. I can bet on good. But I just think people don't realize how little you get to be great. It's tough. It's not that hard at receiver to become an innings eater. It's just what can you do for that 3 years down the road? I get it. If you're sitting on Jordan Addison today, people aren't excited to have him. But I'm more excited to have him than Dalton Kincaid.
We've talked about this in the Discord before too, though. Like, right, there should be a process in place for tight ends. Tight end comes out and gives you a Dalton Kincaid rookie season. You should probably be looking to move him at that point because he's actually rose in value a little bit.
But why? Shane, that if Tyler Warren has Dalton Kincaid's rookie year, people will be okay with that.
Oh, well, I won't be.
People thought Dalton Kincaid would just get better in year 2. And then when he didn't, he's gone.
Yeah.
And you know how hard it is to just get better than he was in year 1? Like, he basically has to just become Trey McBride to get better. Like, it's just hard. It's hard to do. We're not going to have 2 tight ends that end up top 4, top 5. We're just not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll agree to disagree. I think what you're trying to say is, like, I'm willing to just shoot for the moon. And if I'm wrong, I'm savvy enough to save 60% on my investment before it dies off, because you're active enough. You know what I mean? You're willing to go, oh, this guy ain't it. Let me get rid of him for 2 seconds. You know what I mean?
And that's why relying on data and past history is important to me, because I do make decisions that are risky at the outset, right? It's like not using the condom, but having enough sense to pull out. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Okay. That's didn't think we'd go there with tight ends, but hey, here we are.
Well, if you're going to go anywhere with tight ends, that's where you would go. But anyway,
I like that debate. Yeah, because I think we're definitely on their side. Real quick, would you just draft Travis Hunter over all 4 of those guys in the same circumstance?
Yes.
Although Shane will just take Travis Hunter in every league where he doesn't want to do anything else.
I am concerned that Travis Hunter came out and said he will quit football if he's not allowed to play both sides. So,
but is it the extreme risk still the same? It's actually a better value for you. The odds just went up because more people are going to be scared after that quote.
Yeah, and the upside to what Travis
Mr.
Hunter
just shoot for the moon.
Yes. I'm all about Travis Hunter. I'm going to be drafting him probably a lot earlier than ADP.
Shane's the guy that he buys $10 of Powerball tickets every day, even though the odds are 1 in 2.4 million. We just got to do it every single day and look back after 8 years and go, well, wait a second, where did that $48,000 go that I never won one time? All right, let's get a trade. Got a couple trades in here that I wanted to get to. Dan put this one in early. 12 by 10 super flex. Dak, Darnold, Carr. Amon-Ra, BTJ, Ayuk, Diggs, Walker, Spears, Monty, Rashad White. Tight ends are Zach Ertz and Brenton Strange. So again, this is one of those tight end rooms. No premium, Shane. Your tight ends are not good, but I have 2 that hopefully can just get me by. Should I trade Amon-Ra on the 104 for London, DK, and Christian McCaffrey? 12 by 10.
I don't think that's end. When it's a slash like that, I assume that. No, you're right. That's probably all 3. Okay.
If it's not, then it's an easy trade. I think it's probably all 3. It's a 3 for 2. He's probably concerned a little bit about the depth, but you are tearing off probably the 2 best assets in the deal. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
London and 104 is close, but
the value probably is on the right side, but I can't do it because I'm giving up the 2 best assets in a 5-player deal.
Yep. I
can't do it. Absolutely can't.
And here's the thing, that trade, yes, it's a 2 for 3, but the third piece of the part you're getting back is the roster spot, which depending on how shallow it is, like that's not a 0. You know, it could be just a running back body or backup QB. It has some value. So you see anything in the comments that you want to put up there? Put them up.
A couple super chats. We do still do those. And hey, remember, if you have not liked, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed and you're watching, please hit the subscribe. And if you've done both already, just hit the share button and go share it somewhere on your social medias. So Chase, great name. League is going super flex, start 10 in 2027. Right now it's a 12 by 9, 1 quarterback PPR, tight end premium 0.75. Both are, don't know what IBO stands for.
Inbound offers.
Thank you. Both
Look
are
at that dynasty lingo, Shane.
Both are inbound offers from the same team. My 108 for 27 first and second. I like that. Or my Hurts for Purdy, 27 first and a 27 second. No. Make either deal. Is 108 worth holding? I would move the 108 for 27 first and a second.
Done.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that should change the value of the picks right now is the quarterbacks. And this is not a class where I'm eager to just draft a QB at that 108. You know what I mean? Even if it's sitting there. So yeah, being able to kick the value, not only are you getting a good deal, you're not, remember earlier, I was considering trading the 107 for a 27 first, right?
And a third.
And a
A
third.
third
Here I'm
yeah.
getting a second, and I'm getting it in a draft where the market should shift towards that super flex, which changes that same year. So yeah, this is a smash deal, especially if you have, again, if you have a good team, like you already have Jalen Hurts. So like if you have a good team, this is just a luxury. You know what I mean? I can get out of this draft and I feel real good about what I'm hoarding into 2027. So I'm doing that. Thank you. Good question.
That Hurts deal would get more interesting if that 27 second was another 27 first, but it isn't. So that's where we are. So we're going to hide this current comment. Oh,
we're good. What do you want to put up next?
We have another super chat in here somewhere. Did I imagine it?
Nope. I got it right here. Jerry,
12
by 9 super flex. Jerry, thank you for the super chat. It's a start 9 PPR only. We have Lamar, Stafford, and Baker. Bijan, I think that's Bijan. There's no I, but I assume it's Bijan.
Yes.
Kyron, I got to save characters by cutting out that I in Bijan, but we went all the way on Stafford. But anyway, Bijan, Kyron, Mason, and then we have Chase, Jefferson, Jennings, Andrews. Won the league last year, and we also have all of these picks. 106, 109, 203, 208, 305, 326 thirds. What moves should he make? So $10 super chat. That warrants a little bit of a discussion here, Shane. You got to love Lamar, Bijan, Chase, and Jefferson. Just fill in the gaps with the other 5 starters. I mean, that's pretty strong. But what do you do? And Baker, too. I mean, Baker should be a QB1, maybe low end. But, I mean, what are you doing here? This seems like one of those teams that can afford the luxury move back if you wanted to, right? Can I roll that 109 to a future first and still take my chances with this team? I mean, I have some guys that can fill in. Kyron, Jennings, like those aren't zeros. What are you doing?
Yeah, I would be fine moving back from the 106 too. You know, if I could move back to 111 and something else, fine. Or this might be a team where 106, or if at 109 I don't move that pick, I'm definitely taking something like Travis Hunter because I can afford to take a swing and miss, and if I hit, my team's even more stacked.
Would you send out the 106 and the 109 for the Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Rashee Rice range? If you could just add another core starter like that, maybe not elite, but like the next tier, would you be sending those both for that?
Start 9. It is start 9. Is Drake London, Rashee Rice? Yeah,
assuming Puka, Nico, all of those turn you down.
Yeah, I'm assuming everyone else is off the board. That's why you're into that tier. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. 106, 109 for Drake London. I'd ask for like a Christian Kirk level type asset player on the back
get a running back back. That's the one thing you're going to give up the extra shot at a running back. I don't know. I mean, this is the team to get like a Will Shipley back. You know what I mean? Just add another body. Like the running backs are probably what is going to derail you if something happened to Bijan. You know what I mean? Like you have only 3 running backs listed. So I assume there's not many others, in that Mason range or better. But I think it's a fun team to just have Chase, Jefferson, Bijan, and Lamar. You have like a 2 to 3 year window there where if 3 of 4 of those guys perform what you think, you're just going to be in it in a start 9. It's going to be a tough team to topple. Where do you want to go next?
We do have other questions. Let's see. We have a bunch starred. Let's see. Let's just go back real quick. Drock says, can't wait. What's up, Drock?
Well, can't wait for what? The next Shaden Scott debate?
Apparently. My dude, Sam has been in there since 7:30 waiting, or at least put the trade in there at 7:30. So 10 teams, start 9, Superflex, sold to win and came up short. Have 1 pick at 109 with holes at running back and tight end. What are your thoughts on trading back on the clock, and how do you like to go about it? Have assets like B-Rob, A. Jones, I'm thinking of moving to. Well,
I mean, if you use Shane's logic and Colston, Loveland, or Tyler Warren are there at 109, assuming you can't move back and get a nice deal that fits in a 12 or a 10 by 9. Here's the problem. Moving back in 10 by 9 is not what I'm looking to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isn't this the team, if you have needs at a tight end, isn't this a team you're willing to just, even in a non-tight end premium, you just rip one of those guys and you hope that they're Sam Laporta? They are better.
Yeah, and it's his only pick. It's his only pick, right? He literally says that's his one pick. If you had like the 204, I could even say, you know what, let's go Travis Hunter here, and at 204, let's go Mason Taylor or Elijah Aurora if either of those dudes are available.
What's the grossest trade back you would do here? Given the strength of the class is tight end and running back, would you give up the 109 for the 206, the 209, and the 212?
I was reading Josh's comment and missed the trade. What was the full trade?
Would you give up the 109 for like 3 late seconds? You ain't getting quality, but I have multiple holes, and it is a tight end and running back heavy draft. You wouldn't move back for 3 shots in the second versus the 109? No one's giving you like the 201.
No. And I'm just thinking it doesn't matter because it's 10 teams, right? So the 203 is the 112.
So I guess 212 doesn't exist. It would be like 301, 302.
No, now you're making it a third rounder. Okay.
I mean, but it's a 10 team.
Second rounders, yes.
It's 304 is a second round pick value. It's just a 10 team league.
I got you. No.
A 3 for 1. I'm taking 3 shots saying I have multiple holes.
I will not. Multiple. This is a really inappropriate show. Yeah, I'm probably going to hold there. If I could get 2 seconds in a third, it's a different story. No, and I know that.
You're getting 206, 209 and a third.
No, I'm not doing it. I could do more with that.
You just said you would, and then I proposed
and then I thought about it. And then before I hit accept, I said, you know what? I don't like this deal. So you can go tell everyone the chain reneges. I don't care. That's why you said.
And you're just going to draft what? Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland?
No, I don't know what I'll do with that 109. I can wait and be on the clock, right? 109. So maybe maybe somebody
Shane's
else
going Travis Hunter. Don't care if I don't have any holes. Just give me Travis Hunter. I'll figure it out.
I mean, that is one. Look, that's always an option, right? Is you just make one position or 2 positions so strong that it doesn't even matter.
And if he's right, that probably creates the most value on your pick, right? Like in a league where I don't have a lot of picks and I don't have a lot of value, it's risky, but I get it.
All right. So here's just a comment from Josh. Josh is in the Discord, in the DD Fantasy Football Discord. If you haven't joined yet, you should. We've mentioned it a bunch of times today. A lot of talk time with Scott and Ray GQ. Big dog in the Heisman chat all day. There are additional bonuses, fun channels, all types of good stuff. So get and join ddfantasyfootball.com. Use our promo code, which is somewhere along here somewhere. Get half off the first month.
In the description. Yes.
In the description. Yeah. Do that. Get access to the Warren Trinity. And, me and Scott rely on both of those things a lot when we do roster reviews. So go ahead and join if you haven't joined. And if you have joined, go ahead and upgrade. And like I said, hit us up. We'll give you the promo code, or it's in the description apparently. So just click it. Anyway.
The asymmetrical risk of allowing Shane to do the ad read when it's not practiced. Hey, you got through all the key components. But yeah, Josh is in the Discord. This is probably like a stages conversation, right? Where we can kind of dive through the definition of what these are and then also how they fit from a dynasty perspective. Because I do think that we don't measure risk great in the game we play, because like earlier when you were saying I'm just shooting for upside, a lot of times that upside on paper looks like a 0 or a 1. You know what I mean? It's like I either smashed or I got nothing.
Yes.
But that's typically not how most things are valued. Now, sure, if you draft something and it Jalen Polks and it just looks shitty from the get-go, that probably goes to 0 without really being able to realize any sort of escape value. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But not all assets are like that. Like most assets, especially if they carry the weight of like Tyler Warren or Travis Hunter, even sure, they may become less valuable as the season starts, but they're not going to go to 0. So the key is being able to decipher the information as the free fall is happening. And that's something I think you do pretty well, which is why maybe you are more willing to take risks, because you'll go, I don't like what I'm seeing from this guy. Like he's not going to hit these thresholds or these metrics, so I'm just getting out. And you'll get out at less than the market, because the important thing is to get out before it does fall to a point where you're like, man, I'm just forced to hold this guy now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What else? We got a lot of questions here. Let me wait. Anything that just kind of sticks to you in terms of something you want to talk about?
There's nothing specific, so I'll go and just grab anyone's do.
Here's one. I
And
got it. Happy Madison 4.
Happy Madison
12 by 11.
Now we're
12
talking.
by 11. We don't see tight end premium or anything. Traded Bijan for Devontae Adams, Jordan Addison, the 110, and the 210. 12 by 11, Shane. I still have Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Marv, 103 and 104 and 106 and 110. So we have a lot of picks.
And every
wanted as many running back shot as possible. So I traded basically my one running back away for probably, 6 to 8 rookie running backs in this class, I'm guessing is the plan. What do you think? Because you did add Addison and Adams to your receiver core, and you already had the pick. So this is kind of like going to the extreme and betting on this running back class. But if you're right, I think this team got better. It's tough to trade Bijan in a 4-for-1.
I think so. We see
you'd pay a late first for Adams. You'd pay a late first for Addison. Like, to combined, you're getting 3 firsts. It's just, I'm curious on how you would play it if you had this situation.
I mean, so he's kind of double counting the picks that he already has, right? Because he's like, I have the 203, 4, 6, 10, so I can take 1,000 shots at running back, and it's not really double counting it, because I'm sure part of his thought process is a move in Bijan. I already have 8 shots at running back, so maybe one of these guys could turn into Bijan. I don't think they can. I'd be surprised if they do, but I mean, value-wise, it's definitely fair. It is definitely fair. It's hard for me to say that, getting Adams, Addison, and the 110 and the 210 isn't enough for Bijan, but I don't know that I would do it. I don't know that I could pull the trigger on it, to be honest with you. Like, Bijan feels like an asset. If I'm going to split them, it's going to be in the 2 pieces, and both those pieces are going to be stronger than the aggregate of what I got here.
Would you have rather have just traded Bijan for another hammer player and still just made all the picks? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I see what he's trying to do. He's really going to the extreme of, like, I want to set up all my receiver and flexes and be ready to go with just spray and pray with every running back pick and see if I end up with an aggregate of a running back room. But I do think that because you had all those picks, you maybe went a little too far. And I think something that doesn't really get explained is, you know what you had if you would have kept Bijan? You actually had more flexibility with these picks, right? You could have gone out. I don't really need to make this 106 because I already have the 3 and the 4. I'll trade out of it. I don't need to make the 110 because I already have Bijan. I already drafted 2 more running backs. I took a luxury shot at 106 and I took a receiver. 110, I can just trade out for a future first. You know what I mean? Like, now you have to basically hit every running back possible, or try to. And you're going to get to a couple spots in that rookie draft where you go, Shane, I really do not want to draft that running back at 203 because there's still a straggling receiver that's there that has a better profile. You know what I mean? And then you're going to be like, but I traded Bijan, so I got to take that running back shot to give myself as many chances as possible. So,
Yep.
All right, we got 10 more minutes, 5-10 more minutes. I do want to run our roster review promo at the end because we're finally able to get it launched on the site here. Maybe overnight it should be up. But Rip, let's do a couple more.
We didn't do this one already, right? 10 by 9 super flex, no tight end premium.
We did not.
Okay. Drake May. Hey, short just dropped on our YouTube channel. Check that out on Drake May. Drake May, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy, Young, Kansas running back. He's got Puka, Ladd, Rice, Bowers, has the 106, 8, 2026, 3026, and all his 26s. What should he do with all his picks, Scott? What do you think he should do with these picks?
I mean, it's a 10 by 9. So the value in a lot of these picks is you're taking stabs, hoping that you outkick your coverage. You know what I mean? Because immediately you're thinking, okay, man, I should consolidate, trade up. Like, you do have a nice foundation with Ladd and Rice and Bowers. And at least I'm fine with Penix and Nix they're not the elite, but or May and Nix. They're not the elite quarterbacks, but you could do worse with a trio. And McCarthy and Bryce Young, like, Pick 2 of those guys to include in deals if you wanted, right? But I'm assuming in these leagues, it's hard to trade up, Shane. You don't just add a quarterback to 106 and get 102. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it was that easy to just move up with the picks, I don't think that he'd already have an extra first and an extra second.
Or to tier up and add the 106 to a quarterback and get a better player, a non-quarterback. It's a 10-teamer, right? So the scarcity even is quarterback's not going to be there. So this is tough because really there's going to be players at those picks, if you pick the right ones, that are worth first, right? That are in the range of Ladd or Rashee Rice. I'm not saying you're going to end up with a Bowers or a Puka, but you probably end up with a Ladd or a Rashee Rice. I don't know what position, but you probably end up with 1 or 2 of those. You're just going to have to make 7 picks to get it. Or what do we have? 6 picks and all of our 26 picks. I mean,
you know what we're going to have to start asking of people? If you're going to show us that you have this plethora of picks, you got to tell us your roster sizes too. Because like,
true,
that has some effect on this, right? Like, let's say it's a 10x9, but it's only a 20-man roster limit or 23-man roster limit. That's very different than a 30-man or 37-man roster.
That's one thing we do with roster reviews is we do go through the total sizes and we see like how many roster spots do you have? What is kind of the cutoff? Because for all we know, the rest of his roster could have all cans, like literally nothing, or it could have a bunch of backups that just weren't really relevant to list. That might change how many roster spots I'm willing to just turn over or start cutting players. What else? Got a few more. Got time for probably 2 more questions. Anything that tickles your fancy in here? Oh, let me get to these war questions. They were addressed specifically to me, so I'm going to throw a couple of these in here real quick. Scott, given your recent draft pick war analysis, are you more inclined to take receiver in the mid-first? If so, shallow leagues. Are you in the mid-first? Okay, yeah, I think he might have added a second part to that I don't know, but he asked the same question twice, so I'll answer this. I think this year, the way the class is shaping up, what I don't want to do is reach on a running back because that is the next running back up, and there's going to be people that justify the running back 5 over the wide receiver 2. And if you go listen to that war episode that I did on running backs and receivers, the historical bet says you don't want to do that, Shane. I don't want to draft a RB5 in a class over the second or third receiver off the board if they're first round picks. Now, if they're not first round picks, that's a different story. But yeah, I'm actually, if I have to make picks, I'm actually fine taking those receivers this year because I think the profiles they're not great, but I think they're getting hated on. I think Golden, Egbuka, Burden, they're getting hated on because people don't see elite. So they just say I should pass over them. Yet if I just told you, you end up with Olave, Jordan Addison, and Michael Pittman in his prime, you'd go, those aren't bad receivers. You just had a window where you had to decipher whether they were potentially elite or they are what they are. You know what I mean? But I like doing that than just saying, oh, I have to take the RB5 because I just know the RB5 is better than that receiver because the receiver's not elite. But again, chance you draft the RB5, it ain't going to be elite. It might be a good running back, but what if they're not an elite running back? What did you get? You got Najee Harris versus Devontae Smith. Both served their purpose. You know what I mean?
And again, though, you're including draft capital into that. So if a running back is drafted, the RB5 is somehow in the second round.
RB5 is going to be a second rounder if I had to guess. And the wide receiver 3 is going to be a first rounder if I had to guess. So between those two, I'd rather take the receiver in this class than just take the RB. But right now it's being mocked differently. We do a mock, we're taking 5 running backs before we take the wide receiver 3. Hell, we've had 4 running backs before we even take the wide receiver 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a draft to hit that range of receiver and just acknowledge I'm shooting for a double here. I'm probably not hitting a home run with one of those receivers. I could. Like, there's people out there saying Burden could be elite, but I still think it's a better bet than the RB5. Check out those episodes, though, because I literally lay it out with data. It makes sense why you would not want to take the RB there over the receiver.
So just I wanted to go last year. There was only 1 second round running back, John Brooks. We all know how that worked out. Not great.
Just admit last year because it threw off the math. There's a lot of good receivers. There's not a lot of good
last 2023 it was just Zach Charbonnet. 2022 Breece Hall, Ken Walker, James Cook. That was a particularly fruitful second round. 2021 Javonte Williams. So, I mean, the 2022, just based off those, 4 years or whatever, just seems like the outlier, right? I mean, it's just the running backs you're going through the list. Outside of that, in the second round weren't great. 2020, okay, 2020 again, an outlier. You had DeAndre Swift, Taylor Akers, J.K.
Well,
Dobbins.
I mean, if you're going to compare it, you got to compare it to 2020 and 2017. I'm like, those are the classes that had pre-draft a lot of running back hype. And what happened in those classes? You got a first round running back, multiples, or you got multiple seconds, and you got both in all those classes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A good running back classes, you get a first round running back, or maybe two, and then you get multiples in the second. So, like, we didn't have that in the Gibbs Bijan class, but we may get it here where we get two in the first and then two or three more in the second. That's when you're making a decision. Okay, but still, what I'm saying is, even if, let's say, Caleb Johnson's RB5, even if he's in the late second, like, if whoever your RB5 is, I'm just guessing that's not as good of a bet than the receiver. And it's just, people cannot get past this, man. If the receiver cannot be elite, I don't want him at all. And we just got to get out of that mindset, because not all five running backs in this class are even going to be as good as, like, Kenneth Walker. You know, there's probably three running backs in this class that end up better than Kenneth Walker. And I keep using him, but he's the guy that already in year 4, people are like, oh man, I don't know about him.
I like Ken Walker.
I know you do. Just saying, like that. You know, I posed the question: if Omarion Hampton has Ken Walker's first 3 years of his career, minus the injuries, because I think that's part of why people don't like Ken Walker as much as they should.
Right.
Like, if he told me that's just what Hampton is, people would go, it's a bust pick. Not worth the 102. So
I just want to look at the wide receivers in the first round over that same range. Last year was ridiculous. I don't even want to look at that. Never mind.
Last year was an outlier, dude. The receivers were great. The running backs were not. I mean, it was like to the extreme, which makes it funny when you get to this year's class and you're like, it kind of looks like the opposite. You know what I mean?
But 2023, you had JSN, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison. You also had Quentin Johnston in there, but you got 3 very usable wide receivers. And 2022.
Historically,
London,
dude,
Wilson,
those are good
Olave,
bets.
Williamson. Yeah, you had
those
Dotson
are good
and
bets.
Burks. That
most of the time,
out,
yes, everyone remembers Dotson and Burks and Rager. But typically, when you get drafted in the first round at receiver, you are. It's not hard to become an innings eater. What's real hard is to predict which one's going to become Brian Thomas.
Right.
You know, CD Lamb. Like those ones, they're not always the best one off the board. So.
Yep, the past is often prequel, so it's important to look at it.
All right, well, that is it, Shane. It has been a fun off season, from getting to hang out with you in Mobile, and then starting the YouTube channel, and getting to. If you're not liked and subscribed, please do. We're trying to hit that 5,000 mark before we get to the draft. So if you haven't already, you're still in here, go on YouTube, click the like button, click the subscribe button. But this is the last Manic and Chill until draft. Like, literally, the next Manic and Chill is going to be day 2 of the NFL draft. So we'll already have a bunch of information in front of us. I did see we get a super chat that came in very late. If you want to fire it up there, might as well. Jason, to answer your question, 11 bench spots. Looking to move QBs and picks to get hammers. Nobody values QBs. Moving to Superflex this offseason. 10x9. Don't need all those young QBs. Yeah, so if you remember, this is the one that had the 5 QBs, right?
Yeah, and that's why you have them, because
there's a reason. I was just gonna say, when you see a roster like that, there's a reason. And Jason, I hate to give you this answer, but there's a reason you have what you have. By proxy, the league has allowed you to get all those late first, seconds, and all of those mid-tier QBs. So to be creative, man. Like, you have a bunch of picks, you have a bunch of quarterbacks, you don't know. Here would be my advice, Jason, because you did donate $10 towards a super chat. Be willing to trade what you don't want to trade. You probably don't want to trade Drake May. You'd love to trade JJ McCarthy. But nobody probably wants JJ McCarthy or Bryce Young. But they may be willing to give you a premier asset for a pick and Drake May. So you've built those players up. Be willing to trade into what people will take, because it's clear there's not a robust market for a lot of the stuff that you have. So instead of banging your head against the wall and saying, man, why won't anybody trade for my Penix or Bryce Young or JJ McCarthy or my late firsts or my early seconds, take the assets that you're a little uncomfortable moving and see what you can really do with those. And if you can't do anything, you may have to just string it out and make a bunch of picks. But going to the uncomfortable range may be where you find your deal. All right, Shane. That's it. I'll let you close it out. Then I'll run the roster review promo. Everybody, if you're interested in a roster review, we do them weekly. We do them daily, depending on how many we get. I'm going to put up the email, but this is going to be the last time you probably see the email. mannequinshowreview@gmail.com. We'll run the promo. So if you're interested, we'll show exactly kind of what you get when you're doing it. But it should be on the website maybe as early as later tonight. So you'll be able to click, see the same promo video, see your options of what you get, and be something that we're looking forward to bringing to the DD community via ddfantasyfootball.com. So final word, Shane, then we'll close it out. Good show.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm like I said earlier, make sure if you haven't already joined ddfantasyfootball.com, give us a month. Try it out. You get a half off a month using our promo code. You won't want to leave. I promise you. Roster reviews, if you want one, you're probably going to want to reach out quickly because they do tend to fill up as soon as the NFL draft's over because rookie drafts are happening and people are ready to make moves. But also that, don't forget to check us out. We're going to be on the Big Dogs channel this week, Thursday. We got the NFL draft. Friday, the NFL draft. Saturday, the NFL draft. Manic and Chill, like Scott said, on this channel. Dynasty Theory. Gabe, Ty, everybody on here grinding. Appreciate everybody watching. Just please make sure you've subscribed. And that's all. Everyone take care of yourselves.
Yep. Have a good night. I'm going on vacation for a couple days. Unwinding a little bit. And then we'll be back ready for next week. I'm excited. Thank you all for being here. And Manic and Chill is out until the draft. Have a good night. Shane, it is roster review season once again. What is the elite QB market in this league? Like, are they untouchable, or is there a way to get into that?
Yeah, they're not going to run the same offense next year. It's not going to be him touching the ball 30 times a game.
I wonder if I could. I'm trying to think what I could do.
I don't think he's a Final Four team. Maybe.
This is a team that I actually like. There's a bunch of wide receivers at the bottom of that roster.
You have two shots at two players that historically could actually be up in this range, right?
But you didn't actually send the offers?
No.
If I have a guy that has no value, but he can be wide receiver 35, I'd rather have that.
This team could compete this year, even if you just were forced to make the picks.
Your starter here on a weekly basis could give you basically the same as here.
I'm willing to do that, even with the risk.
Could we get real spicy and get Jacobs and McCaffrey for Penix?
Ooh.